So today we decided to go to the second largest Hindu temple in the world, the largest in the US, and it was absolutely amazing. So we decided to come to this Hindu temple today here in New Jersey, and it is absolutely amazing. It's in honor of Bhagwan Swaminarayan. So when you arrive, the very first thing you see is this plaza called Nilkanth Plaza, and in it stands a 49-foot image known as Sri Nilkanth Barney. I'm sure I'm saying that wrong. The name sort of recognizes that yoga pose, as well as the youthful representation of Bhagwan Swaminarayan, whose real name was Nilkanth Barney. It's really an amazing place, and as you look through this area, there's all kinds of carvings in these structures on the outside, and then there's 14 stone round carvings there. You can see 7 on each side with all of these inspirations and lessons that were learned from his journey. We'll talk more about the journey in a minute. It's absolutely beautiful, and everywhere you look, there's a level of detail that is just shocking. The statue itself, though, is pretty darn amazing. The 49 feet tall statue symbolizes the number of years he had in his life, which is kind of cool. There's this three-dimensional map that sort of depicts the journey that Sri Nilkanth Barney took across the Indian continent. At 11 years old, he journeyed some 8,000 miles around the entire subcontinent, which is just truly amazing, and this is pretty impactful when you look at it. Moving on, as you walk through this plaza, what really blew me away is the amount of detail, and you can see I'm starting to zoom in on the actual temple itself, which is, kind of beyond these initial welcome buildings, which we'll go into in a second, but the detail is crazy. It's just so intricate. I will say this thing is a little bit moving, standing. I'm not a religious guy in any way, shape, or form, but this was amazing to me. So as a non-religious guy, one of the things that really intrigued me was the symbolism in all of this. This is sort of the entry plaza. And, there's some signs out there that talk about that the greenery and the water and the architecture and the plaza stand as like a reminder that we all come from the same creator and that each of us are sort of bound to one another. And I think the message is great, regardless of religion, whether you are religious or you're not religious. Quite frankly, the fact that, people can think positively about one another is sort of the right thing. In the very distant there, you can see this Torin gate on the left-hand side that sort of honors each of the visitors as they make their way into this thing, which we'll do in a minute. But as I'm going panning across the buildings, I'll just kind of talk a little bit about this body of water. It's called the Brahma Kund, and it sort of pays homage to the traditional step wells in India, where they have the steps that sort of go down into the water, and it's definitely gorgeous as you look at it. Sadly, we were here in the wintertime, so it was actually frozen over, but normally there are fountains there kind of showing all of that water shooting up in the middle in a nice design, so really cool. So as we walk through the touring gate and up to the Welcome Center, it's time to go inside and check it out. As you go into the Welcome Center, it is almost overwhelming. The carvings are amazing. You can notice there's carvings in all of the walls and columns. There's paintings everywhere. It's this tall 2.5, 3-story structure. You can get a size of how big that is just by the child sitting there. That statue is bigger than that child. Paintings and carvings are just unreal, and it kind of goes up 2.5 stories or so. The other part of this that was absolutely amazing was the intricate details. I mean, unbelievable details. I'm going to pause here. Look at here. You can see all these little candles inside of these openings within the walls. Those are called divas. There are over 3,000 of those within the Welcome Center, which is just amazing to me, the sheer volume of these things. Unbelievably beautiful and everywhere within it. And I think all of you know we are old boating people, right? So the word teak wood and teak carvings are amazing to me. We had them on our Taiwanese boat, but this has unreal carvings, and there's peacocks and swans and parrots and elephants and everything carved along that ceiling. It's over 5,000 cubic feet of Burmese teak, which is absolutely amazing as well. So this whole thing is in this style of a haveli, which is sort of a Indian subcontinent mansion or style back in the 1600s. It's just absolutely beautiful, absolutely beautiful. So through this door, we get out to the Mandir, which is sort of this traditional Hindu place of worship. But I turned around and I just sort of looked at the stone carvings here, and I thought I'd zoom in for a moment and just show you what these look like. It is unbelievable how intricate they are. And what I'm zoomed into is about a 2.5 foot tall section of stone here. But if you look at this, the details are amazing. And it's not just in a little spot. Like as I zoom out and go around this next plaza, you can see that these walls carved like that go all the way around this temple, which looks like it's carved in even more intricate detail, though I'm not there yet. We'll show that in a bit. It's crazy. And then as I turn and I sort of face this Mandir, this is just to the right of the entrance. As I look at these things, this is kind of it's referred to as a mandover, and it's sort of this message of devotion showing statues that traditionally made offerings to God back in the day. And each of these are represented in these statues, but the detail is just crazy. I continue to be blown away as we look at this stuff. So there's no recording video in the temple for obvious reasons. So we are now out in this courtyard, which is like this journey of contemplation as you make your way toward Akshardham temple. And as you look around, the level of detail in everything could really take you just hours to look at. Just by way of example, I'm just going to zoom into, I guess this may be a fountain in the summertime, but I want to show you the detail on this. So as I zoom into these geese, which form the base of the actual statue itself, you can see the detail, like down to the carvings of the feathers on the neck and the grooves in the beak. Like it is just crazy. And again, it's not a one-off, it's everywhere. As I look at the wall behind this, which forms the outside of the staircase that walk into the temple, these are probably 12 to 18 inches tall, what I'm zoomed into right here. And they are each individually different, all hand-carved in India, all trucked back and shipped to the U.S. so this thing could be assembled. And this place just opened in 2014, so it's still fairly new. But I've been to the Vatican in Rome, and I will tell you that this was as intricate, if not more beautiful than that. Obviously, the Vatican's bigger, but the level of detail and interest I had in this is truly impressive. And maybe it's because I'm not familiar with Hinduism. So to me, it's like a history lesson, it's an education, and it's this, sort of beautiful display. At the base of the temple stands these things they call the wisdom plinth. They're statues that go all the way around the facility, and they have these amazing sayings on. And what's really interesting is this is surrounded by a 13-tiered stone structure, and that stone structure goes all the way around the entire temple. So again, the level of detail, I'm zooming in just to sort of give you an idea on this, because they mentioned that it's a 13-tiered stone structure. And as you zoom up, you can see, so I don't know, maybe 2 or 3 feet off the ground, and you can see sort of the first statue, if you will. As you go up, it has, again, another layer of detail with more statues in it, which is just, just blown away. That's the best word for this entire thing. And then as you walk around this entire building, there's all these inspirational sayings that sort of inspire you around what this place is meant to celebrate. So the tour in the large temple is amazing, and there's no photography, obviously, but I did find a little bit of footage online. I thought it would show you just the entranceway alone, but when you get in here, it is just completely. And I don't mean moving from a religious perspective. I mean moving from a capability perspective. What is created here is phenomenal. And as you walk out, you kind of come back through the courtyard and you see these sort of triumphant elephants that they have in these statues. So we're now making our way to where they have a gift shop and restaurants and a visitor center, and we're making our way back. As I was editing, I just realized I have a correction to make. I just said a moment ago that this was built in 2014. It was actually 2024. My apologies on when it finished. And they had some pictures showing the year's progression in here. So as you leave this part of it, you can kind of see this cool thing where you can see the Swami Maharaj, who's sort of the 5th successor from Bhagwan Swaminarayan. So it's really cool to see that this was sort of his vision to build this temple in honor of Bhagwan Swaminarayan and make it such a large and beautiful sort of inspirational place here in the U.S. It's really cool as it shows these images over just the last 6 to 8 years of this leader as he was working through the process here, and then as this temple was built, so sort of sitting here in the temple itself. I would encourage anybody to come here. I really would. I look forward to coming back, not for the spiritual side of it, but just the sheer beauty of it. This Hindu temple is absolutely amazing. I can't wait to come back here and spend 6 or 8 hours. I want to read every single sign. I want to learn about the people. This thing is gorgeous. gorgeous. It reminds me a little bit of the opulence of going to the Vatican in Rome. Absolutely amazing. I'm blown away.